all these directors, especially all these people that are passionate about teaching kids to swim, adults to swim, just in general trying to make our community safer in and around the water. A little history of U.S. Masters swimming. I grew up as a coach. I grew up as an instructor. I've been teaching lessons since I was 15, as soon as the Red Cross would certify me to teach lessons. So I go back teaching 50 years, and have been doing it every year since. Kind of transcended from teaching kids to swim to working with adults as I got more involved with U.S. Masters Swimming. I was a coach first. Our organization has been in existence for 50 years, and we've always encouraged an adult to swim, but we haven't done enough to teach an adult to swim until very recently. As I was coaching a program in Sarasota, Florida, I had a swimmer. Her name was Melissa. She wasn't a very good swimmer, but she was young, and I was really happy to have a young 30-year-old swimmer in our program because I assumed that that was going to help attract some other young adults to swim in Masters, because it seems like our demographic tends to be a little bit older. Well, while I was coaching Melissa, and once again, she wasn't a very strong swimmer, but she tried very hard, and she would go to meets and she would always be last in her heat. But she was always encouraged by the fact that I would put her on a relay with others that would either win the heat or win the event. So that was just a thrilling thing for her. But things weren't always that great. While I was coaching her, she lost her niece, a 2-year-old niece, to drowning in a backyard accident. And it was very, very impactful for me, her. We grieved together for a long period of time, and she left the sport of swimming because what was once her sanctuary in the pool became her hell. And it took her over 2 years to ever come back to the water. But she did come back, and she continues to swim today. But that led me on the path of figuring out what more I could do to reduce the risk of drowning. And I was fortunate at the time to have a boss at U.S. Masters Swimming that listened to my idea about developing an adult learn to swim certification program that would teach adults how to teach other adults to swim. And I was very fortunate to have Bill Meyer on this journey with me to help me write the curriculum that became our first go-round at teaching adults to swim. Well, once again, not everything is as smooth as we would like it to be, because in January of 2015, once we developed this curriculum, we offered our first class in Indianapolis, Indiana. January in Indianapolis, that's already a problem, okay? So here we go. We're going to the first class. It's at Butler University. Our host is Mel Goldstein, and he's here with me today. Well, we get to Butler University about 7 o'clock in the morning. In a driving rainstorm, it's freezing cold. We have 30 instructors getting ready to be trained. Mel, Bill, and myself were there, and that front door getting ready to walk in, and the door's locked. And we're standing in the rain. And oh my gosh, it's like, first of all, I'm from the South, and I don't handle cold weather very well. Those guys seem to be okay with it, except it was miserable because it was just raining and just freezing cold. And poor Mel is on his cell phone trying to find somebody that can open that door. Well, fortunately, we found somebody that got us in the room, and we frantically set up the classroom space because nothing was set up. We got the AV equipment going, and Bill taught our first Adult Learn to Swim certification course that day. Now, our certification course comes in 2 parts. There's a classroom portion that takes about 5 hours, and you can imagine what it would be like listening to Bill teach a class for 5 hours, right? Well, it was awesome. It was so energetic. It motivated me to do more of these and really continue on with the mission that we had set. Then we have 2 hours in the pool. That's part of our classroom. We have the pool portion of it for a couple hours that we get to really trade off with other instructors. One's the instructor, one's the student, and back and forth through the whole progression of our curriculum. And it was just a wonderful experience. And Since then, we've offered over 75 classes around the country, and we've educated and certified over 2,200 ALTS instructors. And we continue to offer about 6 to 7 classes a year, and we train somewhere between 25 and 35 instructors in each of the classes. So we want to continue that mission because it's dear to me for a lot of reasons. I know it's dear to you as well, and we're very fortunate. We had a charitable arm within U.S. Masters Swimming. It was called Swimming Saves Lives. And we would offer grants to programs that were starting an adult learn to swim program. And in 2022, we partnered with USA Swimming Foundation. They manage that program for us now, and we've been awarding approximately $130,000 worth of grants to up to 60 recipients each year. And we want to continue to do that and hopefully raise even more money so that the amount of grants can increase. So if you have an interest in applying for a grant, I'd be more than happy to entertain any questions about it either during this or after, because we want you to not only teach kids to swim, but teach adults to swim. And here's why. You know, I've always thought that people have gone about this the wrong way. I've always thought the Red Cross always concentrated on kids. They had very little to offer for somebody that was an adult learning to swim. It was all kid-centric. And, you know, I read the statistic that if an adult in a household doesn't know how to swim, there's only a 19% chance that a kid in that household will ever learn to swim. Not as a kid, but as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, as an adult. That's a horrible statistic. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how can I improve that? Well, what if I taught an adult to swim in that household? What then happens? Well, instead of a 19% chance, the chance goes to 81%. That's not doubling, that's more than tripling the chance that a kid will learn to swim at some point. And what better life-saving skill to learn than swimming? Because not only is it that life-saving skill, but it's a lifelong skill that they'll be able to do for a lifetime as a form of fitness, as a form of enjoyment, as a form of socialization with other swimmers that are like-minded. And it's just a wonderful thing, and we want to change that generational problem of not having somebody in the household know how to swim, whether it's the kid or whether it's the adult. So help me keep that statistic as low as possible, the drowning statistic. Help me try to eliminate it. Help me eliminate those families that go through what Melissa went through. Because you guys have the power to do it, and I want you to help me. Thank you.
You talked about grants for new programs. Is it just for nonprofit, or are those grants also available for someone who runs a for-profit?
It's both. There's a scoring system.
Okay.
Some of the things that are going to help you, maybe what kind of lessons you're offering in terms of, is it underprivileged communities or need-based communities? Are you keeping the lessons free? Are you reducing the cost to much less than what your expenses would be? So there's a pro forma budget that you would fill out. I don't have a problem with awarding it to profitable organizations or for-profit, but nonprofit sometimes gets our attention a little bit more.
Can I add too that I just recently found out, and I've gone through the steps. I know in Florida, I can't speak for other states, there is now a new legislation that allows for-profit companies to file for nonprofit donations. So something to look into.
Yeah.
And you can kind of get the best of both worlds.
That's a Make a Splash. Is that through the Make a Splash Foundation? The adult grant?
The Make a Splash is more focused on the kids side of things. Ours it's still part of the USA Swimming Foundation.
It's on that website.
Right, correct. And the grant cycle usually runs, the applications open on October 15th. They close it on December 15th. They're scored during the holidays, and people find out if they were awarded a grant sometime in January, end of January, that time frame. And then we would like for you to offer the lessons sometime before the end of that year, so the end of 25, because you'll have to fill out a report and submit it before the end. Now the grants, they generally max out at about $5,000 on the adult side of things because we have so many programs applying and just not enough money, unfortunately, to fund all the recipients that are worthy.
So does it fund like the tuition or like that kind of
Expenses, instructor expense, pool rental fees, equipment, travel for the student to get to the lesson because there's a lot of students in underserved markets that need that transportation. So anything that we can get them into the pool, getting them a lesson, getting them a little bit safer in and around the water, we're for. Right.
How many of you have more than 20 adults in your program? I feel like this is the biggest growing population. I went to Bill came to us